Hello and welcome to the Diversity Awareness module of this training for certification of community-based living arrangements in the state of Nevada. This training and the certification process overall is handled by the Department of Health and Human Services Bureau of Healthcare Quality and Compliance. This topic is important because of the diversity in the United States today and how that diversity is expected to grow in the coming decades. Statistics tell us that by the year 2050, the United States Asian population is projected to increase from 5% to 9%, and the Hispanic population is expected to jump from 14% to 29%. The Black population is expected to remain unchanged at about 13%, but the white population is expected to decline from 67% to 47% of the population. What this means for you is that anticipated demographic changes have magnified the importance of addressing racial and ethnic diversities in healthcare. So we have four specific goals of this training. First, we want to understand that we are all fundamentally different and we want to respect those differences. Second, we'll examine how cultural influences play a role in our lives and our clients' lives. Third, we want to try and implement cultural competence guidelines into our services. And finally, we'll examine ourselves and become familiar with cultural biases. As you know by looking at the people around you, both professionally and socially, we live in a world with a wide variety of races, cultures, religions, ages, and lifestyles. These factors come into play in all facets of our lives, including when it comes to healthcare. Specifically in this case, the care being provided to Nevadans in certified community-based living arrangements. So what is diversity? Simply put, diversity is a way of saying that we all have our differences and that none of us is identical to anyone else. While none of us is identical to anyone else, people are going to have things about them that are the same as others, as well as qualities that make them different. Ask yourself, how are you the same as others? And on the flip side, how are you different, even in a group of other similar people? Now, relating that to the clients you'll be serving as a certified community-based living arrangement provider, you need to keep in mind that even small differences make a client diverse enough that the services you provide to him or her may need to be individualized. We mentioned some factors that make us diverse, but there are many types of diversity that influence our lives. We mentioned age and religion, then there's gender and gender orientation, but beyond that, we must consider an individual's socioeconomic status, military experience, marital status, education and literacy levels, any disability the person might have, their immigration status, political views or context of a situation, the person's employment, the geographical location in question, or the person's parental status. Certainly there are more factors that you might take into consideration for any given individual you serve as a resident of a community-based living arrangement. So what is culture? Well, start by thinking of all those factors of diversity we mentioned as puzzle pieces. When you fit many people's puzzle pieces together, you get a picture that can be thought of as their culture. Cultural awareness, then, is developed when you are able to see the puzzle both as a larger picture and for its individual pieces. It is a cognitive process in which you, as a provider, are able to appreciate and be sensitive to the values, beliefs, ways of life, practices, and problem-solving strategies of each client's culture. As you become culturally aware, you'll learn that some aspects of a client's cultural history, values, and lifestyle are relevant to your work with that client. At the same time, other aspects of their culture might not be relevant and will simply be interesting to you as a professional. However, you don't want to prejudge what areas are relevant, but rather be open to the influences of any aspect of their background. It's up to you to be able to identify the strengths in each client's cultural orientation that you can build upon as you work with them towards a better future. As you become culturally aware, you will develop cultural sensitivity. People who are culturally sensitive are capable of handling and responding to the cultural differences around them. As you become sensitive as an individual, this will translate to cultural sensitivity within your agency, which means your community-based living arrangement will adopt a set of skills, attitudes, policies, and structures that come together to enable professionals, agencies, and the larger system to manage the various cultural situations across all levels. Cultural awareness and sensitivity are necessary for both all the people in your CBLA and the organization as a whole to help your clients as much as possible. Now let's talk about understanding different cultures. Let's start by treating all facts you have ever heard or read about cultural values and traits as hypotheses, or educated guesses, that need to be tested with each client. In other words, don't prejudge your clients. To expand on cultural competency, seeing and acknowledging our differences is a big step towards becoming more sensitive and inclusive. Being culturally competent means you have the knowledge and skills that enable you to appreciate, value, and celebrate both similarities and differences within, between, and among culturally diverse groups. Cultural competency skills allow us to learn, appreciate, and understand differences we bring into any interaction with another person. And being a community-based living arrangement provider will lead you to interact with many kinds of people. As you become better able to understand others, you'll also get a better understanding of your own worldviews, attitudes, beliefs, and opinions. And not just about nationality, but also about ethnicity, language, religion, and other factors. And competency means not just tolerance, but shaping our own behaviors to work and interact effectively and respectfully with others. As with most things in life, cultural competency is a lesson in progress that we're always learning. The skills that come along with cultural competency can be applied to the mental health field, of which you are now a part as a community-based living arrangement provider. With cultural competency comes a set of skills and processes that enable providers to appreciate, value, and celebrate similarities and differences within, between, and among culturally diverse groups, and to provide services that are culturally appropriate for the diverse populations being served. For the clients you'll be serving, having culturally competent mental health providers can mean the difference between that client making it or falling through the cracks. Knowing how important cultural competency is for providing the best possible mental health services, here are 9 tips to help you achieve cultural competency. 1. Remember that each client is an individual and should be treated as such. 2. Understand any potential barriers to communication. 3. Accept that different cultures practice different kinds of medicine. 4. Respect cultural differences pertaining to body language. 5. Welcome family involvement with the client's permission while maintaining your role as a client advocate. 6. Look in as well as out. 7. Use your observation skills. 8. Appreciate those differences. And 9. Be patient. Here's a list of resources you can refer to as you work to improve your diversity and cultural awareness and competency skills for the benefit of your community-based living arrangement clients. We will post this list along with the courses listing on the NV eLearn webpage. This is the end of the module about diversity in the State of Nevada Community-Based Living Arrangement Certification Training. You can return to the NV eLearn webpage and take the test to evaluate your learning on this subject, and when you pass the test, a certificate of completion will be available for you to print and download.